कुमार स्वामी नाइक है गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2
In the news tonight, fight against COVID-19 not over yet. AG directs TSLB to review students' suspension. And major cleanup in Labasa to combat LTDD.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
Minister for Health, Dr. Efremi Wanganambete, is reminding healthcare workers that the fight against COVID-19 is not over yet. He's urging health professionals to do their groundwork, profile the communities and identify the most vulnerable to register them for the COVID-19 vaccination process. Dr. Wanganambete had earlier in an interview highlighted that not all Fijians will be vaccinated at once, as the process will to some extent be similar to the measles immunization program. Kritika Kumar reports.
The minister is stressing that this year is the year of vaccinations and they must not drop the ball.
So one of the things that I was talking to our staff was that we must not drop this ball. We must not drop this ball. It's been tiring, exhausting, but the purpose and the focus must be very clear.
The Health Ministry in the last few years has undertaken massive immunization campaign for meningococcal and measles.
End of 2018, 2019 beginning, we had a massive public health campaign, which is MEN-C, and we had to vaccinate. So we vaccinated about 290,000 of our children. And over a period of 6 months, and unfortunately, we lost about 5 lives.
Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, says the rollout program will be based on priority levels. He stressed that registration process will be vital.
Basically, before the batch comes in, we will have registered who all will get it. And then we will give it according to those that we have registered.
The ministry last week completed the training of the staff who will be carrying out the groundwork. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Board and its chief executive have been directed to urgently review the suspension of National Toppers Scheme students following its unilateral and arbitrary decision to raise GPA requirements. Attorney General Ayasad Qayyum says the TSLB made a hasty decision without the government's approval or consultation to raise the requirements for students' academic performance under the National Toppers Scheme. He says before they had any real idea of what was happening, some students found themselves unfairly suspended. The minister says rather than rush to change the GPA requirements and suspend those students, the TSLB should have consulted with the government, educational institutions and students. The Attorney General yesterday met with TSLB board and CEO, the Dean of the FNU College of Medicine and the Solicitor General's office, along with a number of representatives of recently suspended NTS students. The Fiji Roads Authority is hopeful there will be no further delays in its road rehabilitation as they've secured enough bitumen to last the next 3 months. Due to a congestion at the Auckland, New Zealand port during the Christmas period, the FRA was unable to receive its stock on time, affecting roadworks. Kritika Kumar reports the authority received its first consignment of 100 tonnes on Tuesday.
The first consignment of bitumen will last the next 6 to 7 days, with another 600 tons coming into the country tomorrow.
We should be plain sailing from there because end of February we've got 10,000 tons coming in. So suppliers told us that that's what the consignment is going to be. So we should be good after this, but hoping the weather sticks with us.
Bitumen is a mixture of hydrocarbons obtained naturally or as a residue from petroleum distillation and is used for road surfacing and roofing.
Now that we have the bitumen that has come into the country, they will then have to plan the resource that they have with them.
The unavailability of this important material has affected road repairs. Prasad says they are aware that the increased potholes are adding to the traffic congestion.
That's the first phase of getting the road surface right, and then we'll work together with the Land Transport Authority and the Fiji Police Force. We're working together at the moment actually to see where we can optimize the flow of traffic. So we're working, the three groups are working together to get the most economical solution for this flow of traffic.
The FRA is keeping close tabs on the work carried out by the contractors, and if it is not up to the standards, they are asked to either fix it at their own cost or pay hefty performance bond. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Civil servants and NGOs in Labasa and Savusavu today joined the Ministry of Health in their extensive fight against leptospirosis, typhoid, dengue and diarrhea. Commissioner Northern Uraya Rainima says the major cleanup campaign around Labasa is being organized in response to the recent increase in the number of typhoid cases. Eleanor Turangaivu reports.
The major cleanup campaign saw civil servants and representatives of various NGOs picking up rubbish, clearing up drains and removing tins and bottles from along the roads in the LTDD hotspot areas.
This is to help the Ministry of Health in the fight against the LTDD around the Maduata area.
3 new typhoid cases were recorded this week, taking up the total number of cases to 13, 11 in Maduata and 2 in the Kaunrobe. Commissioner Northern Uraya Nima says the combined cleanup effort is aimed at ensuring there is no outbreak.
We are targeting the red spot areas also in terms of the water and sanitation projects for those areas.
The Ministry of Health is continuing its fight against LTDD in the hotspot areas. Apart from spraying, they are also distributing wash and hygiene kits.
It's important that we dispose our rubbish properly, clean up our compound and also clean the gutters.
There are 15 LTDD hotspots in Maduata. These include Nalemba, Dhongeloa, Bunika, Soasoa, Bunibau, Bulileka, Batinikama, Siberia, Nasekula, Tuatua, Lajonia, Wengele, Wailebu, Tambudola and Tambia. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
Recommendations have been put forward by the retailers of Suva to install facial recognition cameras to increase safety. The Suva Retailers Association is working closely with police and the Suva City Council on the project. Apenisa Wangairondovu reports these cameras will complement the already installed CCTV cameras.
The facial recognition cameras will assist the authorities in solving crime at a faster rate.
We are recommending to have face recognition cameras to be put up so that it's easy. It's more like we want prevention of crime than when the crime has happened and with the police running after the criminal or something like that.
Patel says they'll be working closely with the City Council on the project.
For last year as well, we gave a commitment to the council that we would pay for 5 cameras, and the new board has already approved that budget as well. So we're just waiting for the City Council to come up with the quotations and we'll work with them.
The Suva City Council says there needs for collective effort as police alone cannot fight the emerging crime.
We've seen the shift in crime. There's a lot of pickpocket and other things that's coming out. So we really need to be on guard, to be alert, and also to take preventative measures in beefing up the security.
We'd like to be there at the command center, and we see traffic and we see movements of people around urban centers. That cannot be done through the human eyes only. It can be done when you have assistance, capabilities, technology down on the ground in terms of cameras and CCTV.
The feed from the facial recognition cameras will go to the Totongo police station. The aim is to make the capital city a much safer place for Fijians and visitors alike. Apenisong Ndobu, FBC News.
Up ahead, first head of state to visit Ganloa Island. And supermarket florists remain hopeful.
Baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu Radio Fiji बहुत Radio Fiji रोज सुनता हूँ.
Radio Fiji 2 देश की धड़कन.
President Chochi Conrote has become the first head of state to set foot on Ngaloa Island in Boer. Conrote was in Ngaloa this week to see the classroom block built by the Australian Defence Forces and RFMF engineers and visit the villages. LautokaBar reports.
President Chochi Conrote, on his first visit to Ngaloa Island, was received with a warm welcome.
We are happy and thankful, even though you are here for a short time. For us, despite the situation we are in, we will do our best to warmly welcome you.
At Ngaloa Island, the president witnessed firsthand the devastation caused by tropical cyclone Yasa. Speaking to the villagers, Conrote says they are fortunate that no lives were lost during the cyclone.
Thank you for enduring these last few weeks, the devastation to your homes, your plantations. We were walking here and I asked the officials about food here. Let's work together to see that our plantations are replanted so we can have enough food.
The president also got a chance to visit the newly built classroom block at the village school and commended the work done by the Australian Defence Forces as well as the RFMF engineers.
We thank God that your school has been rebuilt by the Australian Army. I am really happy to see the rehabilitation of your school.
Ngaloa Island suffered about 80% damage to their building structures and rehabilitation works are currently underway. LautokaBar, FBC News.
Carrier drivers in Nandi are having to work harder as the slowdown in business has also impacted them. The Namaka drivers say this is their only source of income and they are trying hard to make ends meet. Felipe Naikaso has more.
These drivers are not losing hope despite a decline in income.
I still come to work here. This is our bread and butter. From this we can take the food at home. If not this, can't take any food at home.
Many of them reach the base as early as 7 a.m. in the hopes of getting a few extra jobs. But for some, the wait for passengers also takes a toll on them.
Someday we just earning $5. What you going to fill the fuel? Think, What family going to eat, Very hard time.
It may be little cash for them to take home at the end of the day. However, the drivers are grateful that something is better than nothing.
Yeah, we're not giving up. We have to come here every morning and every afternoon. In a daytime, we park it, I stand almost 2 or 3 hours. Then when job comes, then we'll take it away.
This is the scenario for majority of drivers here in the Namaka lane as they just patiently wait for any jobs to come their way to earn a few dollars before they head home. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
The women selling fresh flowers at the Suva market are hoping 2021 will be a better year for their business. These florists are also facing a slowdown in business due to the impact of the pandemic on the local economy. Jeshu Lal spoke with some of the florists today.
Flowers are often bought for special occasions. But these florists say despite the festivities, they were unable to maximize on sales.
Our business is not that much going, but we are green now because of for our customers coming and buy our flowers. And sometimes things going well and sometimes are not.
We are lucky that we still are going on and we still have something. We managed to put foods on the table and do some other...
With only 2 weeks remaining for Valentine's Day, market vendors are hoping to get in more customers.
In February, the month of Valentine, or young couples, most of the time young couples, they come in order.
We don't even have the amount we used to before.
Many of these women travel from as far as Tailevu to sell their flowers at the market on Friday and Saturday. To get to the market, they pay around $50 in taxi fare and sometimes are unable to earn enough to meet the costs. Jeshu Lal, FBC News.
Turning overseas, U.S. President Joe Biden has ordered the faster issuance of pandemic stimulus checks to needy families and increased food aid to children who normally rely on school meals. This is done in an effort to ease Americans' burdens while Congress negotiates over his proposed $1.9 trillion economic stimulus package. Up ahead in sports, Baber impressed with national reps. And Bao Bullet back on track. This and more coming up.
हमारे सामने नाइक है गोंगवा लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber has been impressed with a number of players at the FRU Super Series Sevens tournament in Singapore. A few of the Fiji Sevens players like Jerry Tuai, Napoleoni Ratu and police player Joe Talavolo have stood out during the two-day tournament. The tournament is also a good platform for players to showcase their talent in the hopes of getting a call. Gareth Baber also says the intensity and skills shown by the teams from the first day has been outstanding.
Jerry, getting a little bit angry in the last game and, getting himself forward. I mean, we don't get that unless we're playing at these levels, and you don't get that if you have games where you don't have to push as hard. Being a top-level athlete is about every time you get on the field, you feel that somebody's after your position, and that's what I want for every player, one who's in the squad and two who wants to get to the squad.
The Lautoka and Bar Football teams will be looking at a few areas to work on before the 2021 season kicks off. This after the two sides played a friendly match at Churchill Park last night. Lautoka won the game 5-2. Aquila Dama reports.
Both teams fielded their best possible sides for this friendly, and despite the big win, Lautoka still has a lot to fix.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to work on. So many things to touch on: the defense, transitioning of players up in attack and defense, and positioning play in defense. We need to tighten up our defense.
Wonolangi is hopeful they can be ready in time for the National League.
We have 2 weeks to train the boys, pick up on their fitness, and hope so come the first National League will be okay.
For new Mba coach Kamal Swami, there were some positives out of the match, which he believes the side can build on this season.
The match fitness is not there, that's why we are playing friendly match, but good to see we are taking shots now, good to see we are playing channel balls, and I'm sure we will improve more.
Superstar Seirusi Nalumbu was in action for Lautoka and managed to score a goal. However, his transfer has not been approved by Fiji FA. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Football Association is glad that beach soccer is back on the calendar. 10 teams were part of the first Fiji FA Open tournament of the year in Suva today. There are now plans to have competitions around the country this year. The semi-finals and final will be held tomorrow. Futsal and Beach Soccer Development Officer Mira Sahib says they're really encouraged by the turnout today despite the wet weather.
It's a great pleasure to see beach soccer back in the country. We are trying to revive the sport here. This is just the introduction tournament, and this is one of the first tournaments of the many tournaments that are on the way for Fiji football in terms of beach soccer.
2 national athletes were back in action at the ANZ Stadium in Suva today. After some niggling injuries late last year, the duo, who are also vying for a ticket to the Tokyo Olympic Games, looked relaxed in Athletics Fiji's first competition of the year. Aquila Dama with the story.
Testing himself after coming off the festive season, the Pacific's fastest man is grateful to be back competing.
Just looking at the past season, around this time last year we were competing as normally, but due to COVID and all the restrictions that we have now, the year has been really challenging in terms of competition. Good to be back on the track and starting off the new season again.
Just like Tambakau Doro, Eugene Volma was also flying today. However, it felt different this time around.
Feels a little weird. The stadium is pretty empty, but especially after a year of non-competitive sports, just training hard, coming out here and just dusting off the cobwebs. First of all, it feels weird, but then feels good to be back again.
Both athletes are ready for what 2021 will offer.
I can honestly say the competition fitness is not quite as what we expected. But I know we're not the only sport facing that right now. There's other sports facing that too. And yeah, just looking forward to a very interesting year.
Most of these athletes are using this competition to keep fit, just in case this year's Coca-Cola Games is given the green light. Aquila Vama, FBC Sports.
Just like athletics, Netball Fiji also had its first program of the new season. National squad members were at the FMF gym in Suva from this morning until midday for the netball training camp. Former national coach Unaisi Rokora is keeping a close eye on the players as she puts them through different drills today. Senior players like Apisake Kahatoka, Unaisi Rauluni and Waiti Wangatambu were guiding the young players. The squad is expected to get back together soon for a similar exercise. Japan is standing firm on its commitment to host the Tokyo Olympics in July this year. The country has denied reports of a possible cancellation, but the pledge to go ahead with the Games looks unlikely to ease public concern about holding the event during a global pandemic. Rain and showers were experienced over most places. In the west, cloudy with occasional rain and a thunderstorm this afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, the day began with sunny conditions, but rain took over from midday. And up north, occasional morning rain and a thunderstorm, followed by a couple of thunderstorms this afternoon. At sea, north to northwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, moderate seas, moderate southwest swells, poor visibility in areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms. Turning to the tides, the next low tide is at 9:10 p.m., followed by high tide at 3:15 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 5:48. The forecast for tomorrow, rain gradually spreading to the rest of the group from tomorrow evening. Localized heavy falls may lead to flash flooding of low-lying areas. Outlook for Monday, occasional rain, heavy at times, and a few thunderstorms over most places. Recapping our main stories, fight against COVID-19 not over yet. AG directs TSLB to review student suspension and major cleanup in Labasa to combat LTDD. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. This week, well, to our poll question, this week we're asking, should the next daylight saving be extended for a longer period? Visit our FBC website to answer. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook and Twitter accounts. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, Wadimanda.
हमारे सामने नायक है गोमवा लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में